This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon and welcome to this very special Mother's Day Sunday afternoon sunset safari from the western fringes of the Greater Limpopo Transfrontier Park. My name is James Henry and I'm sitting in a tree. And David is on camera. And it's marvellous to have you all with us. We've got a lot of families joining us this afternoon, and you can send us any questions you'd like to for the first 45 minutes using the email address kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. It'll be lovely to hear from you during the course of the kid-focused drive, and mothers, you can help too. If you can hear a dog barking in the background, that is not in fact a wild dog. It is a dog belonging to the landowner of this area. And, well, it's just a bit excited, I suppose, at the start of the safari. I'm now going to get down from here and hopefully not kill myself. There we go. My plan is to head off towards the east. Hopefully we will find some kind of animals. This morning, there wasn't a lot going, but the Mother's Day afternoon promises to offer up something special, I'm sure, even if it is just one beetle and a duiker. Now, it's about 74 degrees Fahrenheit or so, probably 75, so 24 degrees Celsius, plus minus. Oh, I was just out. It's 25 and 77 apparently, and it's a very pleasant sort of late autumn, early winter's day here in the low veld of sunny South Africa. Hello, Poonam and Shaku. Safari guests should wear bright pink clothing as much as possible so that their rangers know where they are when they get lost in the bush. That's a joke. Safari guests shouldn't wear pink clothing. You know, it doesn't really make a huge difference. You should try and wear clothes that don't reflect, so that not too bright. Yellows and reds and pinks and oranges are not a great idea. White is not a great idea because white is very easy to see out here because it reflects light very easily. And so what you want to try and wear is dull blues or greens or khakis. But, you know, if you wear a dull maroon color, it's not going to be that difficult to see or that easy for an animal to see. There is a beautiful kudu which has unfortunately just sprained its ankle. It was galloping across the clearing, looking most regal, and now it appears to have twisted its ankle and has got a bit of a nowie. He's with what looks like two wives and their babies. There's something quite interesting about that too. Let me just go forward. I want to show you something. The interesting thing about it is that the two bebes are not the same age. And it shows you how different the strategy of the kudu is from the impala. The impala are the first things we saw. There are some impala there. I'm just going to ease forward. Now you can see that these two impala, who are young rams, in fact there are three of them, are exactly the same size, even though they're now hiding behind a bush. That's absolutely useless, you three. Anyway, they're exactly the same size because they were born at the same time of the year. There we go, that's it, come out into the open. Well done. And the kudu are not quite as seasonal, which means that they're not all born at the same time. They'll be born during the summer, but it could be over a period of months. Unlike the impala, which are born within 2 weeks of each other. I think that's relatively interesting. Perhaps not massively so, but certainly relatively. Let us now go across to Trishala, who is going to bid you a very warm Mother's Day safari welcome.
Happy Mother's Day, all the mums around the world, and then welcome aboard everybody else, the mums, the non-mums, everybody, all the grandmums as well. I am Trishala, and I'm so happy to have you on board, and I've got BK behind me today on camera. And especially, hello, all the kiddies. I hope that you all spent some nice time with your mummies and baked them lovely goods. All of those things. Happy Mother's Day to my mummy too. I hope you've all just had a wonderful day of appreciation. I hope that today we'll be able to find some animal mums that we can appreciate together as well. Hi Jonathan, you're 11 years old and you're from New Jersey. You'd like to know what time is it now and where are we in Africa? Let's check the time for you. It's 6 minutes past 3 in the afternoon and we are all the way down in South Africa. So you know Africa is this big continent and all the way down south at a little point. That's South Africa and we are in South Africa, but us specifically in Djuma Game Reserve, we are in the Sabi Sand, which is basically in the northeast of South Africa. I hope that's specific enough for you. It's a lovely part of the country, although I must say the country is just beautiful and there's so many parts to it. And it's difficult to compare. I am originally from the coast of South Africa, and even there it's very nice, the east coast. So we have amazing marine animals and marine life, and then inland we have the most gorgeous terrestrial wildlife. So you have a bit of everything, which I love. When I was growing up along the coast, you could see dolphins and whales and sharks. If you go to the beach, it's just wonderful. Well, I'm on the western side and I'm going to keep on searching this way for some animals, but I'll send you over to James, who's managed to find a mum with her 2 little ones.
Well, I've got one mum with 1 baby. I don't know where the other baby is. This is our little grebe family. And I'm hoping the other baby is perhaps on the nest having a rest. They do that. Daddy's just behind, or mummy, I don't know which. There's another grebe swimming about. It's gone under, yes. Sophia and Fiona, very few mammals would have babies at this time of the year. Elephants might. They don't really have a specific time of year. The predators might. They don't have a specific time of year, except for the wild dogs, who will give birth probably in about a month's time, maybe just less than that. But most of the antelope give birth in the summertime. And then there are some birds that will give birth or that will hatch their eggs at this time of the year. Here's one example, the little grebes. And then some of the raptor species like African hawk eagles and white-backed vultures. I have a horrible feeling that this family of 3 is now a family of 2. Yeah, sorry, this family of 4 is now a family of 3. Let's just go forward a bit and see if there isn't another one on the nest. There are 2 nests. One is here, underneath those... Oh, that one's gone. That nest is gone. And on this nest is the other baby. Look, there we are. Phew. That was a very scary moment, everybody. I was terrified myself. This little baby would not be alive, but it is alive and well, and is now kicking out towards its mummy. Yes, maybe it was sent to its room for being naughty. Phew. Maybe it was having a sulk. And you're all extremely excited that this little baby has survived. Oh, that's too cute, isn't it? I don't know, Daniel. I don't think they understand necessarily, but I don't think they find it something they're afraid of. You know, I don't think that a shadow frightens an animal out here. It's too sweet. A perfectly peaceful little Sunday afternoon scene, this, isn't it? And to see such great parenting skills, reminiscent, of course, of our mothers. Well, hopefully, anyway. Hello, Shreya, aged 5 in Ireland. There are no crocodiles in here as far as we know, and it's not a river, so it's a dam, and that's important because it means that if a crocodile is going to come here, it's going to have to walk here from some other water body. So it's not like it can just travel up the river. And it's possible, however, that there's a crocodile in here that we just don't know about. They do move, they do come here from time to time, and we've seen them walking into this area. And there's a golden rule out here in Africa, and that is that if there is a water body in an area like this, you don't get into it, because there could be a crocodile there. It's impossible to know for sure that there isn't a crocodile, and if there is one, you can get yourself into big trouble, because the crocodile will hunt a human being, no problem. It's not like walking out into the bush here, where you know there are lions, but because lions don't hunt people all the time, or in fact very seldom, especially during the day, you know you're relatively safe as long as you don't behave like an idiot. And you'll find here horrible stories of people getting taken by crocodiles, and normally those people have guessed that there aren't crocodiles in that water, and then they've been caught out. Alicia, I think that these grebes are now 14 days old. I forget exactly when they were born, but round about 14 days ago. So almost 2 weeks. Don't think it's more than that. They're just too cute, though. In 50 days, they will be pretty much fully grown, so one of them at least is 14 days old, the other is 1 day older or 1 day younger. It's a good little swimmer. This is the one that was having his Sunday nap. Hello, Dylan and Felix, Who else lives in this dam? Well, there's normally a hippopotamus called Dewey, and he likes to play with big sticks, but I don't see him here right now. I'm sure he'll be back. There are a couple of water monitor lizards that live here. There are some Egyptian geese that like to spend time here, sometimes some white-faced whistling ducks. You will find lots and lots of little water invertebrates, water boatmen, and other kinds of insects, water spiders, I suppose, as well. And then in the summertime, thousands of frogs like to live around here. And what else? Herons come to live here. Grey heron we had this morning. Green-backed heron sometimes. Yeah, that's about the sum total. Also in summer, lots of weavers. Weaver birds like to live here, but they move away during the winter. Good. That was a nice little grebe interlude. We are now going to continue. Let's go back to Trishala. She is on the western frontier. Let's find out what's going on there.
I am on the western frontier, and there's not much going on here. Not yet, at least. But then also, it's still the time of day where everything is pretty quiet. You know, just past 3. But we're going to have a look at the lovely mountains in a moment when I come to the end of this road. The blue sky reminds me of the Simpsons sky today. Hi Jessie, you're 11 years old and you're from the Netherlands. You'd like to know if we see snakes on the reserve often. Ooh, how's that, BK? We do see snakes. Not very often though, because snakes are not actually very social creatures. Those are the Drakensberg Mountains that BK is showing you there. Snakes are not very social creatures, and they're pretty shy. So when we do see them, they hurry off very quickly. And then we'd hardly get a good look. Although, puff adders, we at least get to see more often than the others, at least in my experience. But not on drive too much. But definitely around camp, I think that's the snake we see most. And in the long grass and the bits of shade, sometimes they'll be on the road sunning themselves, because remember, they're cold-blooded. We call that ectothermic. So they sit on the road sometimes, trying to get some heat. Today it's about 25 degrees Celsius, or 77 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's a very, very medium temperature. So I'm very comfortable, BK is very comfortable. Hopefully that means that the animals will be very comfortable too, because the predators don't like it when it's too hot. That's why they tend to be in a very shaded area at this time of day. But at least we have the lovely Drakensberg Mountains to look at. The last time this mountain range was active was about 180 million years ago. And that was very, very, very long ago. And now they give us a very picturesque scene. Don't you love the layers? I do. Well, we're almost on the southern boundary, so we're going to keep on going a little bit. Hello, Dylan and Felix. You'd like to know how many people live in South Africa? That is an excellent question. I'm sure we've hit 50 million by now, possibly even more. The last time I ever looked at the population count for South Africa, believe it or not, was during some Cricket World Cup when Graham Smith said there's 47 million people behind us. And since then, we have grown. It might actually be 52 million, but definitely above 50 million people in South Africa. That's a lot of people, don't you think? There are lots of people all over the world. And we have lots and lots of different types of people in South Africa. South Africa has 11 official languages and many, many different races that all live in South Africa. For example, I look Indian and my skin looks brown, but my ancestors only came from India about 100, 120 years ago, long time ago. And we get lots of different cultures all mixed together, and we all live in South Africa. And all of us are proudly South African, even though we may look different and speak different languages and sound different. We all live in our beautiful country. Yay! Sean is out and he's ready to say hello at and Zingala. So let's go over. I'm sure he's going to wish you all a happy Mother's Day again too.
Welcome everybody, so nice to finally have you back here at and.Ngala with us, with Sean over here, and we've got Marcel behind the camera. There he is there. What we have been doing is driving down the river. It's probably why the signal's not too good. It does seem to fade in and out of the river. But I'm sure they told you it's been a very hot day. Temperatures got up to 25 Celsius, 70, high 70 something Fahrenheit. So what we're doing is we're looking for some of the big animals, you know, any of the predators, maybe some buffaloes, some elephants. They would come down here, come down the banks. Around the side is much, much cooler. Remember we saw the mist this morning in those low-lying areas like the river. So it's cooler, there's more shade. So we are hoping to find one of them here. We've seen quite a few tracks of elephants crossing the river, but up and down here. But none of them in the river yet. But we're remaining positive. The day turned out very nicely. Ah, 8-year-old Nori from Germany. The big five would consist of the elephant, the biggest one. Then we got the buffalo, and then we got the rhinoceros, and we got the leopard and the lion. So those are the five. So the two big predators, leopard, lion, and then yeah, rhino, elephant, and buffalo. And Marcel wants to know the big seven. Big seven I haven't heard. I know the magnificent seven. So there we go. Marcel's saying that the big seven, you add the great white shark and one of the whales. He's not sure which whale, but one of the whales to make the big seven. I mean, these days, you know, they got these names for everything. You got the big five, the small five, the magnificent seven, the ugly five. You got all of these classifications of the animals. And it's good, you know, it keeps people interested. It's a good way to remember some of the animal names, things like that. We don't refer to the rest nearly as often, obviously, as the big five. They're the most famous ones. And they are, you know, really beautiful animals to look at. What a lot of people get wrong, though, is that they're like, oh, the big five, you know, biggest animals. So they think things like giraffe and maybe a hippo, you know, in terms of being in the big five, where it's not, you know, the big five, a hunting term. We'll get into that a little bit later. But it's always important to not just think about the biggest animals. You know, that's what they do very, very well at Djuma. You know, they're stopping for the birds, the spiders, the butterflies, the dragonflies, things like that. It's very, very, very cool. You've got to remember those, the tracks, and there's a lot of interesting stuff here that a lot of guests don't know about when they arrive. You know, at and.Ngala, you arrive, we show you a book, which I can't find at the moment, but we show you a bit of a manual, and it's got a whole lot of sort of animals in, and the reserve, and maps, and things like that. And, you know, we introduce you to a whole lot of the smaller things that most guests haven't heard about. You know, even the antelopes. things like that a lot of people just don't know. And for us, it makes up a lot of your game drive. You know, as we saw this morning, as we've seen on many drives, both here at Djuma, all sorts of the lodges, it's hard to find the big five. They're not always around, you know. They're secretive animals, they hide, they're here, they're there. But you can always see impalas, you know, you'll see zebras, and these animals are important to round out an experience. A lot of the time lions just sleep. People go, oh, I want to come to Africa and see a lion, and then they sit there and the lion sleeps for 18 hours. You know, that's why I like watching elephants. Because elephants always do things. Giraffes, they're feeding. Rowan saw the one with the horns in its mouth. You know, that's really, really cool. Now you got the rutting impalas fighting, you got the baby grebes at Djuma. You know, so there's a lot of cool things. And it's important not to forget about. And the baboons, yes. But what we're doing, besides chatting, is, as I said, we're looking. So we're going to keep going down here. We had tracks of a leopard on the right coming up towards the river, so we're going to go have a look, see what we can find. While we track, though, send you back across to James, see if he's got any updates for us.
We have got some tracks of elephants going along here. And so we'll head down towards where they are heading, and maybe we'll be lucky and have some elephants. I would love to have some elephants today. I'm sure everybody would love to have some elephants today. Hello Kira, age 12. No, we do get to choose. We just have a little discussion before we go out. So Trishala said that she was going to take the west today, and I said, well, I'll go central and around towards the east and see what we can find that way. And that's how we do it. Sometimes if there are specific tracks that we want to go and follow up on, we'll head in that direction, but basically we just get to choose where we want to go. So these tracks have crossed now, going down this way, so I think we'll go down this way. Some of them had a drink over here, sprayed themselves with mud, no doubt. Fortunately, we are relatively close to the southern boundary, which means they may have crossed over. Oh, Torben, the hardest animal to find would be something like an aardvark or a pangolin. They're both tricky animals to try and find. But when you're tracking, you don't even really bother and track an aardvark or a pangolin because they really are so tricky. When you're actually tracking something, a leopard is the most tricky to find because it walks very softly and it doesn't leave much of a mark as it goes, and so they are quite difficult to find. I think the elephants went off in there. There is a bird. We'll just have a quick look at this yellow-billed hornbill, which has caught itself. Oh, yummy. Oh, delicious bit of leg it has there. Yum. Breaking it up. I really don't think it's going to get a lot of nutrition out of that, because most of it's chitin, which is indigestible. Let's go to Trishala now. She's got another interesting bird, iconic.
Certainly it is iconic. It's an African fish eagle. It's right here at Twin Dams. Now, excuse that branch that's covering its face, but if I start up, it might fly away. And I can't have that. This is very cool. I haven't seen a fish eagle at this spot. Ever, I think, at this spot. Okay, I'm gonna try and roll again just because it would be so lovely if we can see its face. Come on, Wendy, roll. I'm trying to roll so that I don't have to start up. Nope, it's not happening for us, boys and girls. We're just gonna have to put up with this view for now. Now, why do you think it's called a fish eagle? It's because they like to eat fish. So you find them hanging around near dams. That's why it's right here at Twin Dams. They'll also go for other animals that are lingering on the side or the shores of the dams and rivers. Things like small reptiles, birds, and small mammals. They're capable of lifting almost their weight up into the air. They weigh about 2.5 kgs and they can lift about 2 kgs. Oh, it's looking at you. I wonder if it'll call for us. It has the most beautiful, most iconic call. Very difficult to replicate. Big, strong talons, sort of called the feet of predatory birds like this. Now it's holding on to that branch. Very strong. Males and females look very similar. It's very difficult to tell which is which. Hello Maitreya, you're 10 years old and you're from India. We'd like to know if we have very many water predators here. Well, in the freshwater are things like lakes and dams, not saltwater. Saltwater we get in the sea. In freshwater you do get crocodiles. And they're quite fierce predators. You also get predatory birds that will hunt freshwater, like a fish eagle or an osprey. And then you'll also get things like water monitors. Smaller, you may not associate them with large predators of some sort, but they do prey on little mammals and little reptiles. Things like that. And out in the oceans, in the salt water, we have lots and lots of sharks on our coast. The great white shark being, oh, shake it out there, being the most popularized one. But we also get whale sharks, short-fin mako sharks, ragged-toothed sharks. Lots of different types of sharks. Also whales on our coast. And turtles. Turtles also predators. I wish I could just move that branch. BK, I think I'm going to try and move forward slightly. See what happens, but you can stay on it, so at least if it doesn't like the sound of me flying, of me driving, not of me flying, then you can still see it. There we go. What a well-behaved fish eagle. Now it's cleaning its feathers. This is a nice close view. We hardly ever get to see them this close because the pair that we see at Chitwa. Where are you going to? Off it goes. The pair that we often see at Chitwa are quite far away. And it's flown away. Wasn't that lovely? Sometimes from our rooms we can hear a fish eagle, and it's definitely not the ones at Chitwa because it comes from a northerly direction. I wonder if this could be our culprit. It has gone. Okay, let's go and check. Let's go and check up at Twin Dams. While I get there, I'll send you back over to Sean at and.Sydney for a bit of an update. Oh, I heard something and I just looked at Beaky and said, what? I suspected it might be that. Sorry, guys. I'm sure Sean will be with us soon. Let's go see what else we can find up here. We're gonna stop here because a giraffe will not drink if it thinks that there's something threatening. So we're gonna stop here. How cool is that? It's very, very difficult to watch a giraffe drink, especially at this distance, because they're very vulnerable. When they're down like that, look how awkwardly they have to push their head down. Their front legs have to bend. And if they think that there's a single thing, the fish eagle. The fish eagle is calling. So if the giraffe hears anything, sees anything threatening, or that it may consider threatening, it will not drink. So we're very lucky. Very, very lucky that he decided to drink for us. Cust, I got a question about what is the largest bird? It was Oliver and William. Sorry, Oliver and William, you got interrupted by this beautiful male giraffe coming to drink, but you asked what is the largest bird we get you. The heaviest would have to be the Corey bustard. 12 kgs. That's a bird. That means that it can lift that weight up into the sky. That says a lot. Now those guys are I mean, they do fly, but they will not fly very, very much. But they are one of the heaviest flying birds. Okay, now that he's had his chance to drink, we can move a little forward and get a good view of him. I hope you guys heard the fish eagle in the background. That called as well. Very difficult to imitate, like I said. It goes... No, that's terrible. I should not even try. Just gorgeous. Well, that is a lovely sight. So now I'm going to send you over to Sean at and.Sydney, who's got an even lovelier sight, I think.
I don't know much about birds. And we're back. So we managed to find a little small flock of southern ground hornbills. Quite a coincidence, we were just chatting about the smaller things, and then we came across they're not very small. These birds are actually quite large, about the size of a turkey. We can only see their heads. They're very distinct because of the black and then that red across the face and the throat. But quite predatory birds. Now you can see they're obviously all walking. And you can't see that third one now, but they're all walking in a line. So they can fly. They have a huge wingspan. But what they're doing is they're walking to try and flush out some food. So they will be eating things like snakes, tortoises, scrub hares, any eggs, chameleons. They're very predatory. They once actually here in Ngala, one of our old rangers saw, I think it was 3 or 4 of these birds attack, kill, and then eat a baby impala. So just let that sink in. An impala was eaten by these birds. It's crazy. Crazy, crazy. Oh, look, there's an elephant. Just joining the picture there. There he is. So, yeah, pretty extreme birds. That's why we stopped here, and they're down there. And they're also a bit shy. They're quite endangered, those birds. So, very lucky to see them. And this elephant decided to come join the party. So, where he came from, if we look, ooh, having a good look at us. So, if you look at that, look at his posture, look at his ears. Open, staying open. He's not flapping them, he's open them. He's looking straight at. He's trying to figure us out. You also notice, by himself, he's got a broken tusk. So, the broken tusk could happen from anything. Could have been a fight, could have been trying to get food when he was pushing over a tree or scraping the bark off a tree, something like that. But the fact that it's by himself tells us it's a male. Females always group. Yeah, so he pushes up as he's open it up. So he's trying to intimidate her. Could be a male, kicked out of the he's just got kicked out. Right tusk on, with maybe around 20 years old. Teen, maybe 22 years. But a lot of these are in state of heightened testosterone when they're looking to mate, and it does make them
We have got a hornbill here. Very exciting. There it is. This time it's got a red bill. And what it's been doing is cleaning its bill and sharpening it. Look at that. It's like a chef sharpening his knife. Say that fast a couple of times. Chef sharpening his knife. And that's important. It's important that he gets the muck off it from a day of eating. And I genuinely believe he's actually doing it to keep it sharp. I think it would probably lose shape if he didn't do that. No, Teddy, it's not dangerous necessarily to leave the vehicle if you're looking for tracks. As long as you look around carefully and make sure that you're not about to stand on a pride of lions or into a herd of buffalo or maybe disturb an elephant that's behind a tree, it's not dangerous. I liken it very much to living in a city. So you can imagine if you had come from an environment like I'm in now and you'd never lived in a city before, and you didn't understand what cars were and how fast they could go and what the rules of the road were, if you stepped out of a hotel on Manhattan, it would be a very dangerous place for you to be because you wouldn't understand how things work. And you could easily step into the traffic and get run over or walk into somebody not knowing which way you should be walking on the pavement, etc. And it's the same here. If you were to, I don't know where you live, Teddy, but I'm imagining it probably in a city environment in the US. If you were to come into a place like this, It would be more dangerous for you to get out of the car than it would be for me, because I kind of understand what's going on here because I've lived here for so many years. But you'd learn pretty quickly, and you'd be able to get out of the car and track very safely, just fine, after, I don't know, a couple of months, maybe even a couple of weeks. It flew off. Goodbye, Hornbill. Now that is the end of our kids-centric drive. We are now opening up the floor to those of you who've been clamoring to ask us questions or send us your comments. You can now do so on the hashtag WildEarth on Twitter. Otherwise, you can use the chat stream on YouTube or on Twitch. We are going towards Bevil's Hook Dam, northeastern corner, hoping to find an elephant there. And once again, a happy Mother's Day to those of you who happen to be mothers. I hope it's been and is being and probably has been in some far parts of Polynesia maybe. A good Mother's Day. I'm not sure if anyone watches us from Polynesia. Does anyone watch us from Polynesia? If you're watching from Polynesia, let us know, because Mother's Day must be just about over there. In fact, it must be over completely. Alec, I have never been charged by an impala. No, I have not. I can't remember even hearing of somebody being charged by an impala. I wouldn't say that it's totally impossible, though. Oh, a female leopard came up here. That's nice. You know, you do hear the odd stories. Didn't who get charged by an impala, Kirsten? You are. Oh. Someone who was watching a viewer got charged by an impala. So what I was going to say is I don't think it's impossible, especially if you put one in a confined space, and especially if it's a bit more used to people. I think an impala could get pretty aggressive if it felt threatened enough. And certainly duiker. I know that duiker are relatively dangerous to try and catch, as in fact they've killed people before. Bushbuck, same story. Nyala, potentially the same story. So yeah, I wouldn't put it past an impala in a situation where they were being captured or they were in captivity and they felt threatened. And then you get the odd freakish sort of story where a wildebeest on a breeding farm or something will take a human being out. You have no defense against an animal like that because it's very big, it's very strong, and it's very fast. And really you can do nothing. Your defense is conning it into believing that you're actually a strong and powerful predator. And an impala, same story. I mean, an impala, pound for pound, is much stronger than a human being. Yeah. It's a very dangerous animal over there. You see it, David? Extremely dangerous steenbok. And to be careful of those ones. They will charge you at a moment's notice. Put 2 little pen-sized holes in you. Well, in your lower leg anyway. Let's go across to Sean now. He's managed to find some signal and a Mother's Day surprise.
And welcome to our little surprise, guys. We managed to find the lions. Well, actually, Rowan and Yapi found the lions, and they told us that we came out to look at the lions. Very, very cool. So we got most of the pride here. From what I can see, we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're counting 9 of them. But I believe the rest are just on the other side of this little grassy bank here. There's still river behind these reeds. And I think they're like, oh, look on the left there. There's the young male. It's my favorite guy. That's the guy that we've been looking for. Well, at least I've been looking for. I know Rowan found him. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. What a man. What a man. Very interesting. Glad that he is still with them. You know, he's still looking good. I'm excited to see him get up. But what I was going to say I find interesting is that look at these lions. They are all moving now into the sun. I mean, out of the 10 now that I can count, 9 of them are in the sun. Only that male is in the shade. It's a little bit odd. You know, now we're sitting in the sun and it is warm. It is warm in the sun. Generally, the lions, they will be lying in the shade, just trying to, you know, keep their bodies nice and cool, regulate their temperatures, things like that. But what they could be doing, if you remember this morning, frightfully cold. This afternoon, well, this evening, it's probably going to get very cold again. So it's not unheard of for these lions, or for lions in general, to sort of lie in the sun at the end of the day, try and warm up, because if they know it's going to be a very cold evening, they're going to come out here into the sun and try and warm up. You're getting that on the left there, yeah. So that's the young female. Now she actually just bumped heads with our favorite male over there before making her way here. She might even greet some of these other youngsters on her way here. The irritating thing is we drove past here this morning. This morning we drove this section of river, and I believe they were probably just up on the bank, and we couldn't see them. Oh, look at that. So social, these animals. You know, lions are extremely social, live in a big group like this, in a pride. You see that female going there, bumping heads. It actually looks like she's trying to lie in his shade. The shade that he's causing. And she's trying to steal it. But beautiful to see. If you look, oh look, the male's up, Ooh. Yeah, Rachel, I agreed with you until he stood up. He's still got quite a limp on him. I'm looking at his knee area now. It's still very swollen. You can still see it's quite red there. Ah, very red and swollen still. You see, we're going to have to give it time to see, you know, because that sort of swelling, you know, it's a bite mark. It's definitely a bite mark. You can see there's 2 sort of puncture wounds on the leg. So he got bitten by another male lion. You know, very large canines. Those canines could have, well, they definitely did go through the skin, the muscles, probably cut some tendons, cut some muscles, and that would then cause, obviously, a lot of swelling. A lot of swelling if they pierce the muscles like that.
The hip also is dislocated at times.
Yeah, Marcel thinks maybe the hip looks a bit dislocated. I'm hoping not. But, you know, best case scenario, he got bitten, it pierced the muscles, maybe some ligaments. That's caused a lot of swelling. And that swelling is preventing his leg from hanging straight. Maybe also those cut ligaments have an effect, and his leg's not dangling straight and he's not putting pressure on it. So ideally, once that swelling goes down, he will get more mobility in that knee area. I mean, it's only been, 5 days since we found him like this? So it's not that long. It's not that long. You know, what he needs now is for this pride to catch something. They can get some food and he can eat. His chances to recover are obviously much, much better. But he didn't look too bad. You know, he's looking skinny, but not all of his bones are sticking out. He's with them now. He's much safer. He's much safer. It's fantastic news. Anushka, the female with the cubs, from here, if we had to drive in the river, Anushka, it is probably 7 kilometers. I would say 7 kilometers. I'm just looking for my book so I can see if we can find the map. But yeah, in the river, bear in mind the river does turn and twist quite a lot. It's about 7 kilometers. I did drive past there earlier. We did not see her. So she could be up on the bank or she could be exploring. We don't know. We will definitely, keep checking and trying to keep updated on that situation. But if we just have a look here quickly, I managed to find the map. So we are now, the red dot is the tented camp. So we are just past the tented camp, close to that sort of gate. So we're about there. And the lioness in the river with the cubs is closer to number 7. So it's quite a journey through the river to get there. Directly it's maybe a bit less, 4 kilometers. But she's quite far away. Quite far. But we are going to watch these lions sleep. See if there's any activity. If they get up, maybe go for a drink, find some shade. So we'll hang around here. In the meantime, we'll send you back to Chisala with some elephants.
We have found the elephants. These are the elephants that James was looking for. And he told me that they were heading in a southwesterly direction. I should look for tracks if they've exited the property. Had a look and I didn't see any. So I thought perhaps Treehouse Dam is a good place to look. Now they will make their way there. They're just making their way quite slowly. In fact, I just passed past the dam to get to them here now. But I am very, very willing to wait until they get to the dam so we get to watch them play. I mean, hopefully they will. Sometimes you can't predict them. But when it comes to elephants and water, they more often than not, if not the whole herd, somebody's definitely getting in there. I was so hoping for elephants today. I think they're quite extreme Ellie mums. Hi Shreya, you're 5 years old and you're from Ireland. You'd like to know, what do elephants eat? This little boy wants to tell you. They enjoy eating grass. They enjoy eating leaves. They like fruit. They like the bark of trees. They like vegetation. Did you hear them communicating? So they like to eat all things juicy and green. And they're herbivores. That's what we call animals that eat vegetation. There's quite a few of them on the side of us. Vicky, how about we try reverse a little bit so we can get them? Standing very still. That usually means that they're trying to communicate with each other. Now I see that any mums are awesome mums because they have to hold their babies inside of them for 22 months. Crazy. They're communicating all around us. They are quite relaxed, but they seem to be actually chatting about something. Now you heard those rumbles, those huffs, but sitting here, you can actually feel another layer of it going on. So they're definitely chatting about something. Oops, I'm sorry about that. I had to be reminded to make a video for my grandmother's birthday today, which coincides with Mother's Day. She likes elephants, so I thought I'd make it for with elephants, which is unbelievably well timed, I must say, for that reminder to go off. So we know that elephants communicate on an infrasonic level as well, at a frequency we can't hear. But you can kind of, I don't know if feel's the right word, but you can get a sense for it. Now that is not infrasonic. Hi, Tony. What a question. You'd like to know which ones are most trustworthy. African or Asian elephants? I don't know. Can't say I've met an Asian elephant, apart from maybe at a zoo. I haven't had this type of interaction with them. But from my understanding of their biology and ecology, the Asian elephant is a lot more docile. And that's why it's been quite easy to, quote-unquote, tame them for domestic use. But in the African elephant, I don't think I'd ever try. Let's turn it around, because I think that they're actually going to head close to the dam. So difficult one. You'll also notice that when it comes to stunts and movies and things like that, it's generally Asian elephants that are used, African elephants. I haven't seen an African elephant being used in any movie. I can think now of a movie that I decided to indulge in recently. I was watching, I love Indiana Jones movies, or any movies like that, and I was indulging in Temple of Doom not too long ago, and there they used Asian elephants. So I would think when it comes to trustworthiness, perhaps an Asian elephant is less likely to cause you any damage than an African one. This is purely my opinion, because it's very difficult to objectively answer that type of question. We have some great trunk work going on here. The light is just stunning for this little one. Look at the glow in those leaves. Looks truly yummy. Gorgeous. Under a bit of shade from the sun. But Sean's lions are sitting in the sun gloriously, I'm sure. So let's go over and see them.
So it's been more normal than I thought, because remember I said as we arrived here they were lying in the sun. It's a bit strange with the weather. So what's happened actually is now 5 of them are now sitting behind the car. So the car is obviously creating its own shadow, and all of these lions are now moving into the shadow of the car. Unfortunately we can't see because the camera is obviously attached to the car and we can't pick it up. But yeah, there's now 5 of them lying in the shade behind us. And we also don't want to disturb them from their little shady posture. You can see those 2 younger ones. So those are the youngest 2. They're related. They're sisters. And those 2 sisters are now watching. Henrik, definitely. So Henrik asked, do I think some lions are more social than others? And definitely. without a doubt. So now I'm hoping that those 2 Ross males that we tried to look at this morning have moved into a more signal happy area, and then you will see. So these lions are all very happy, very nice. The one Ross male, he always sits away from the pride, always sort of keeps his distance. He's very grumpy. One of the cubs goes up to him and he growls at them and chases them away, and he's not very social or tolerant. But yeah, definitely some lions are much more social than other lions. It obviously does also vary between male, female, young and old. But I'd say characteristically or personality wise, some lions are more social than others. Which is while we were sitting here, I also noticed up in the trees there's 5 vultures, just sitting up and around and sort of hanging around the lions. Now I remember this morning we were saying that we saw some vulture activity and we went to go look. This wasn't it. But these vultures are just following the lions to eat their scat, their dung. It's got a lot of meat in it still, and the vultures will often peck at it. So now look at that. A lot of these lions are now getting up and moving into the shade behind the car. Eventually we're going to have the whole pride behind the car, and then we're going to be stuck. But sort of the temperature should start to drop now. Very shortly the sun's going to drop behind the trees on the bank of the river, so we'll be in shadow a lot earlier than some of the other spots in the reserve. And we should see a change in behavior. You can see this female here, got her head up. She's doing a lot of sort of yawning, and that's a good sign. Yawning is actually a sign of activity. But you can see she might stand up, she might lie down. So while we watch her make her decision, send you back across to Shashala with her elephants.
I'm still with the elephants. Surprise, surprise. I'll let you all know that I did make a video for my grandmother with the elephants for her happy birthday. So the alarm can now go off. Well, it went off before. These two have been having the time of their lives, throwing sand on themselves, all in preparation for the dam. Rohit, you'd like to know who I think are the best mothers in the bush? Elephants are pretty good mothers. I must say, I think that elephants are really, really good mothers. Their young is only weaned at about 3 to 5 years. They're fiercely protective. There's so much socializing that goes on. There's a lot of love, if you can say that. You can feel it. And I think that for me, elephants would take it, especially in the bush. In the animal kingdom, there are some strange and very sacrificing mothers out there. You know, actually, community nest spider mums often liquidize themselves to feed their young. So they're also pretty up there. Sometimes they die doing this, kind of a bit like a spider milk type thing. There's also a creature called a Sicilian. Not the people from Sicily, but an amphibious creature, an amphibian called a Sicilian. And some of them grow a fatty layer of skin that their young eats. In fact, they sometimes voraciously start eating the mother from before they're born, and eating reproductive parts of her. And that skin is so nutritious that they can increase their weight tenfold in about 2 weeks. Yes, hi, I see you. Yes, but I still think that in the bush, when it comes to just straightforward good mums, not ones that feed skin to their kids, I think that elephants are my pick. Sorry, I have an insect by my mic. I'm just going to... Something like something walking around your hair. And imagine you're producing milk for all that time. 3 to 5 years before your little one gets weaned. So you're constantly producing that milk. Not forgetting the 22 months of being in gestation. Marjorie, you'd like to know if elephants have a favorite plant at all? There are 2 plants that elephants really like, at least in my experience of seeing them. One would be the sandpaper raisin bush, which you often see them strip. And the other one would be a marula. It may sound cliche, but when marulas are around, elephants lose their minds. Well, these elephants are very, very peaceful. But Sean at and.Sydney has some elephants that are approaching his sighting, which I think are feeling a little less at peace than these ones.
Okay, so we just had some developments here. You see there's the elephant in front of us. We had to move the car. This elephant was coming down the bank behind us. So we just repositioned so that we could get a look at everybody to make sure we were all safe. But you see those lions that were just in the screen? You see how they were sort of lying down flat like that, especially the cubs? So the elephant's very close. I would imagine those. And his lions are strong show that he hasn't. He came down, I think, where lions were what? The elephant is the one animal that will chase lions. That's why we moved the car, because if he came running down here, he would chase the lions. They would be scattered. They're right behind the car. It would just be a bit of a dangerous spot. So very interesting to see what happens. I think this is the same male that we had a look at with the southern ground hornbills, because you can see it's got the broken tusk by itself, similar shape, or size rather. And I think he found some water up on the bank. You can see the darker spots on his forehead, on his ears. There's also some water just in front of the car. You can see there on the right of your screen. There's a bit of water. He's coming. He's seeing the lion. But it looks like he doesn't care for now. The lions are all lying very flat, very low to the ground, but very alert. Look at all of their ears. Yeah, so apparently the signal's getting a bit sketchy every now and then. Sorry about that, but we're going to stay here to see what happens. The confrontation between 2 of the big 5 here, very, very interesting. This is behavior that I sort of like to witness. See how the animals react, see what happens. Will the elephant chase them? He knows he can. These lions will run. He doesn't look too bothered by them. Very interesting. Most of the time I've seen animals this close together between lions and elephants, the elephant will chase them. Maybe he's very confident in himself. He's just too hungry, doesn't have the energy. But it's always incredible. Everyone's like, oh, lions, king of the bush, king of the jungle. If you look at these lions here, they look scared. They look scared. They're lying very, very flat, very, very alert. They very intent on this elephant. All of their heads facing that direction, all of their ears facing that direction. They're waiting to see what's happening. Exactly like we are. This elephant does come any closer. I'm going to start and I'm going to reverse a little bit. We'll still have a view, but I just want to create a little bit of space. Right now it's all fine. Everyone's happy. Everyone's calm. And the thing is, the elephant's eating. Generally eating. It's a very good sign. Animals will only eat when they are relaxed. Pausing every now and then. But let's see. He knows they're there. The elephant eyesight's good. Their sense of smell. Look at his trunk. You can see he's twisting his trunk around. He's smelling. He's now upwind of the lions. It's incredible how close they can be. But just, you know, not interacting. It's like they each know what the other one's going to do, and they know, the elephant knows the lions are not going to attack it. So he's fine. The lions know they can't attack the elephant, so there's no point in doing anything. So everyone's sort of respecting the other, keeping nice and relaxed, keeping their distance. There's no reason to expend unnecessary energy. It's like a session of things coming. Lions, gin, addict, engine, behavior. How quick it is. But no one does anything drastic. Everyone's just watching. Look at the elephant now. He's smelling. He probably wants to head up that bank. He doesn't know, are there more lions up there? Am I going to walk into some more? Let's just be very aware. Let's smell up there before I head up there. You'll see now it's going to come into screen. One of the younger cubs, the sister of the white one, is now up and watching. She couldn't see over the grass what the elephant was doing. So now she's just getting up and watching. Well, it's not a good idea to run at it. There we go. She's lying down. Very good. So where that elephant is, that's where the lions were originally. When they were found, that's where they were found. And then they moved up the side. You can see he's going up the bank. Perfect timing because the camera can't turn anymore. That is the back of the car now. And we don't want to move. If we start the car, the noise could just create something, you know, maybe one, oh, that's lovely. Someone gets scared or panics, you know, we don't want to cause anything, so we're going to sit here quietly for now. You see the lions all still watching. All of them got their heads up, the females. They're making sure. You'll see as soon as this elephant heads up the bank, you'll probably find all of these lions relax, especially those older females, done this before. But I agree, apparently lots of comments saying how incredible that was, and it is. Car keys to crater, it is incredibly sensitive. The elephants can smell, it's phenomenal how good their sense of smell is. I mean, with that trunk they can detect water from 15, 18 kilometers away. They can smell water underground. They can smell everything, fruits. They can smell predators. They can smell anything they want. In fact, we're going to turn a little bit because this elephant, he was eating from like the top of this tree with the vulture in it. And I mean, you'll probably find that this elephant traveled quite a long way to come here. Maybe he knew there was water on the bank, or he knew, okay, this is a good area for this tree and I really like those leaves. So it's all with their sense of smell. You know, they can smell. He definitely knew the lions were here, car keys to crater. He could smell them. You often see them lifting up their trunks like that, smelling around. See, look at him going up there. That is amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of new research that shows they are the animal with the strongest sense of smell.
There we go. So Marcel's enlightening us. He says there's a lot of new research at the moment, car keys to crater, that show that the elephants have the strongest sense of smell out of all of the animals. That was crazy how he managed to reach up there and grab those leaves. I was hoping he was going to jump up on his back legs. That is my dream picture, an elephant on its back legs. It does happen, but not here. I think it's mainly Botswana or northern Namibia where they do that. I mean in Zambia. Very cool, just having a scratch on that tree. And you see that, even the vultures, you know, the tree that he was eating from, there was a vulture on top. But completely undisturbed. The vulture knows the elephant's just eating. It's not going to do anything. These animals are so aware of their position and the role they play, and the other animals, the interaction they could have. It is amazing. It is amazing. You know, you would think lions, predators. Scott, 100% elephants will just chase lions for fun. I've seen it, and that's what I thought was going to happen. I had my hand on the key, the car was ready to go on, it's already in reverse. I thought that elephant was going to chase them. He's by himself, the elephant, he's young. I thought he was going to try and just show some dominance, Scott, and chase the lions. I was very surprised he didn't. Generally, they would. I would say, if I've seen lions and elephants in this sort of proximity 10 times, this is maybe the second time I've seen the elephant walk past and not do anything. So most of the time, they will just chase them. And then you see the lions move. Obviously, the lion's much, much quicker. It would have been interesting with this young male and his injury. Maybe he just would have tried to hide. So I'm actually thankful the elephant didn't chase them. No, the behavior should relax.
There were some white-crested helmet shrikes up there. They've taken off, absconded, gone away, not here anymore. There's some most likely southern masked weaver nests hanging forlornly as an autumnal breeze blows in nostalgically from the southeast. I can hear the white-crested helmet shrikes. We will continue. We've checked the dam, checked around the place, foresaw a couple of elephants. They were in the reserve north of us, so we've come down south. We'll go and follow up again around that big waterhole we had this morning where there was leopard calling. Tristan, you're wondering about whether there are deer here. No, Tristan, there are no deer naturally occurring in Africa. They were suspected that maybe there were some up in North Africa around the sort of Atlas Mountains and the Mediterranean area there, but nothing south of that. And the nearest thing we have is an antelope, and the antelope are pretty much an evolutionary equivalent of the deer, and they're pretty closely related, but we don't actually have deer other than those that have been introduced, and there are no introduced deer in this part of the world. Just a quick check on the road there for some tracks. Nothing. Well, shouldn't spot Battis, but we won't try and get him on camera. I think that'll be impossible. Lovely road this to drive because it's a bit clear each way, but Trishala has got elephants on the road, and so let's go back to her.
They are still on the road. They've decided not to go to Treehouse Dam. I suspect maybe they think that at Twin Dams I am sitting just the perfect spot to get a proper woof of that. They think they're deciding to go to Twin Dams instead. I really suspect that there is something in the water at Treehouse Dam. The amount of animals that avoid it. It's quite amazing. Wonderful shot there. There are quite a few little ones. There you can see just how large Ellie Dung is. Yes. It's very good as mulch though, if you're trying to grow stuff, I must say. I have used it in my mushroom garden. Preferably not at this stage. I wait to find some dry one. It works, that's all I can say. It works. Just a kudu. You were wondering why are the cows or the females the leader of the herd? Often when you get matrilions or groups of animals that are where the head is a female, it generally has to do with competition for resources in order to be more successful parent, because mums are the ones in the animal kingdom. Don't want to offend any of the dads, but mums are the ones that have the most parental investment, generally speaking. There are a few that are exception to that, like the African jacana, where the male has more of the parental investment, or takes on most of it. But where there's a high competition or a high investment with the mum and the calf, for example, with the amount of time an animal like an elephant holds a calf, the gestation period, like 22 months, or a hyena, where the gestation is short, but within the context of carnivores, they are fed and weaned at a very late age. So the investment is pretty high compared to other animals within their groups, and that goes for elephants too. In those types of situations where an animal, a female animal, has to invest so much in the survival of her young, generally they tend to be matriarchal, especially in examples like this. A lot of these things, though, you must understand, happen by chance and then work. A lot of the time it's not survival of the fittest, but survival of the fit within a particular landscape, or we'll call it the fitness landscape, is what is generally referred to. There are many peaks, and these peaks are solutions to a problem, to a particular problem. And those solutions don't have to be the best solution. They just have to be a solution. And once it works, it works. Also remember that females, once they fall pregnant, they fall pregnant. That's it. Their genes are going forward regardless. Males, if they don't get the opportunity to mate, that's nothing for them. Their genes have lost out for this season, or for this year, or for this cycle. With females, they're pregnant, they've already gotten their chance to push forward their genes. So that's why there is a difference in the first place. And then once they work out the social dynamics and what seems to work, they stick with it. It doesn't have to be the best or the worst, but it can definitely, as long as it works, that's all that matters. Nothing like a good toy as well. This older female looks like she's coming along to say, hey, what are you doing? Oh, there's trouble. It's so entertaining to watch them. Thankfully for me, they are on a road that I cannot get around them, so, I'm not going to. And I'm going to happily watch them. Just as I say that, they all move off the road. Man, I wanted to spend more time with you guys. I hope they move towards Twin Dams, because that would be awesome. Have a bit of a play in there. I think I'm going to be sneaky and drive very slowly. Kavish, you say that baby elephants are the cutest. I cannot disagree with you. Which means I agree, absolutely. I love them. Love them, love them, love them. They are absolutely adorable. Still all around, so, I can't go anywhere. Very nice and relaxed. Very good, guys. Very good. Oh, there's lots of little ones. This is quite a large herd. I'd say maybe 25. Very still again, listening. had to calm down too after going on and on about fitness peaks and fitness landscapes. It's just a very interesting topic when we think about why things work the way they do. Deep breaths. Davi was right yesterday. He was saying how he loves the smell of the air here. Crisp and clean. It really is, especially now. Fresh dung piles, which I am sure are quite warm. Sometimes you can put your hand close to elephant dung and actually feel the warmth. Stuck in bed, you want to see the go-away bird that you can hear. Stuck in bed, I can only hear a Cape turtle dove. If I start to hear a go-away bird, I will show it to you. But the shrill, like, that would be a Cape turtle dove. And then it does the harder it's doing now. That. I'm just taking it easy with distances with them, but they are very, very relaxed. And like I said, they're on the road. I can't pass them. I'm just going to have to take it easy. Take it easy with all of you. Anyway, I'll send you back over to Sean at and.Beyond's in Gala, and I'm going to chill out here, and I'll bring you back for a chill session in a bit.
So if you all remember, like an hour ago, when you first came to us and we were driving down the river, and I said river's a good place for things like lions, elephants, leopards, buffaloes. So we got these lions. The last elephant moved off. We've now got another elephant that has come down the bank. He's walking from behind us, so we've had to shift position again, so the elephant's not behind us. You can just see his head there, almost directly above that male white lion. But it looks like he's going up the bank on that side. Just completely bypassed. But look at all the lions, especially the youngsters. A lot of those little younger cubs are watching in that direction. So one female just picked up her head, but the rest did not pay any attention. It's like this area, this section of the river is quite a hot spot for elephants. Maybe the bank's just a bit easier to go down and go up the other side. There's more food here. There's both these elephants that I've walked past have had water splashed on them. So it could be that they all know of a waterhole in the area, or a pan, which is a small little waterhole, and they can go to, and they've all been coming down for that. But you can also start to notice the shade slowly creeping across the river. Now that one cub just went into it, and this male here that's yawning, oh, beautiful. Okay, Souza. So Souza's 7 years old. She's living in the Netherlands. Lions do not climb trees like leopards, no. Lions can climb, and in certain areas in Africa they do climb. If you Google Tanzanian tree climbing lions, you'll get some pictures. So they can climb, but that is very, 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 very seldom. Like here, I have never seen a lion climb a tree like a leopard. A fallen over tree, maybe they might head up, but they can't they can't do what leopards can. Not at all. And it's mainly just because of the size. You know, one of these female lions here is probably weighing 150, 160 kilograms. So that would be something like 200, 320 pounds. So they're heavy, you know, where a big male leopard, a large male leopard, will maybe reach 90 kilograms. So 180 pounds. So the leopards are much, much lighter. Their muscle to weight ratio is very, very high. Got lots of muscles so they can pull themselves up a tree. A lion is just too big. It is just too big. But you see they're watching. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. That elephant's now walking along the side of the bank. And you see, you'll come into picture shortly. And there he is. And all of these lions are now watching him, including one of the females. Thank you. So we might get a different reaction this time. I think Scott, if I remember correctly, asked the question, will the elephants randomly chase the lions? So Scott, we might see now. This elephant looks pretty content up on the bank. But we'll see where he goes. Maybe if he makes his way around this bush and he actually gets a view of the lions, maybe a little change. Seems a little bit smaller. Possibly a younger one. Maybe more inclined to show some dominance or some aggression. Will be interesting to see. Just from the temperature and his movements, I feel like he's going to walk away. But the lions are worried. They were watching. There's only 3 sleeping at the moment. All the rest of them got their heads up. They're watching the elephant. So Yizzo. No, this pride will never go down to Mala Mala Game Reserve. Mala Mala is too far. Maybe this young male, the injured one, when he gets kicked out, he might travel and get forced down that sort of distance. But the females, these ones that we're looking at now, very unlikely that they'll make their way down to Mala Mala. There's no reason for them to head down there. It would only be males that would travel that sort of distance. It has happened before. I think one of our Birmingham males in the past did travel down to sort of the Sabi Sands area. But these females, they will stay here their whole lives. They got no reason or desire to leave. The elephant, though, that elephant could make its way down to Sabi Sands. They travel long, long distances, and they could quite happily travel all the way down to the Sabi Sands area, which is not actually too far away. But you can see now, even these ones heading into the shade. The sun is setting down behind the trees on the bank. And even the amount of activity that we have seen from these lions has been odd, especially in the sort of temperature, the sort of heat. It's not normal to see lions so active in the heat of a day like this. So we're interested to see now that it is cooling down. Are they going to be very active? They're going to get up. They didn't eat yesterday. You can see some of them are looking a little bit skinny. I think a lot of their meals recently have been quite small. You know, a waterbuck split between 13 lions. It's not a lot of food. It's not a lot. So I'm hoping they are going to get up, maybe do some walking, drink some water, possibly go look for hunting opportunities. You know, ideally they want to bring down something like a zebra or a wildebeest or a male kudu, or even a big female kudu would work. You know, buffalo is a bit too big for them. They would need a male involved, and that young male's not getting involved. So I think they'd have to go smaller than a buffalo. But you never know, maybe in the sand, they could take down a buffalo in the sand. See, now the interesting thing, and why you should all tune into the show tomorrow, is from here to the Ross Males, directly across the reserve, maybe 6 kilometers. So it'll be interesting to see tomorrow if they join up with the Ross Males. But while we watch these lions relax and live their dream, we can send you back across to James See if we can get an update from him.
More nostalgia here at the end of the summer season. There is the web of the golden orb web spider. And what you will see is that there is no golden orb web spider on the golden orb web. A hole where there used to be a neat patchwork of glorious gossamer silk. Testament to the fact that the season is over and the spider is dead. All that it has caught is the seeds of Polydora, which grow in profusion below it. The golden orb web spider that built that particular web is probably going to be a mother, but not yet. Next year, its babies will hatch and terrify the daylights out of many human beings who will come past and say, "Ooh, ooh," when they see the orange, black, white, and red of the golden orb web spider, totally harmless to human beings. Well, Karine, these spiders, I don't think, make it through the winter. As far as we know, they only survive a year or 6 months or so, and then they shuffle off this mortal coil, and their genetic legacy is in the soil in the form of eggies, and then they hatch next year, and then they come out again. And you see something there? I think, David, that is a piece of old husk, an old piece of prey. None of your business. Not all spiders die. Some definitely make it through the winter. The tropical tent web spider is a very good example. But these ones, I'm pretty sure survive only one season, and they don't come back next year. Their babies come back. So they've laid their eggs and then drop dead. Now, there are lots of insects that do that will last one season and then drop dead. And then their eggs continue the next year. Go ahead. Trishala is hailing me on the radio. You go wild. I'm miles away. So I think that's just an old husk of something that was possibly the spider's last meal. What a rather miserable thought. It is crazy, yes, that they get that big in a year. But I mean, when you think about quite a few things like some of the emperor moth's caterpillars, they'll get that big quite comfortably. There are quite a few things that'll get pretty big in less than a season. On we go. Vroom, vroom. We've come on to Chitwa, the reserve southeast of Djuma, and we were looking around for a leopard that we heard calling this morning, but were unable to find, and we're rather hoping to find her this afternoon. So far, we have obviously not found her, because if we had, we certainly wouldn't have been looking at that holy web. Christelle, I've never seen a golden orb web spider eat a small bird, but I have seen blue waxbills caught in their webs, and I've also seen Wahlberg's epauletted fruit bat caught in their webs. I would have said that they were much too big for the golden orb web spider to eat. Something is causing a great deal of consternation here with some chin spot batises. There's one dove on this exposed sacrificial limb. It's now gone, naturally. You hear them wing flapping around in there. Now, sometimes they will do this when they're having a territorial dispute. Sometimes they will do it when there is a snake around. Sometimes they will do it when there is a leopard around. But given that they are moving off now, I don't believe there to be a leopard here. I don't suppose it'd be the worst idea in the world for me to just step off the car quickly and look into this hole. If there happens to be a spotty cat in there, hopefully she won't eat me. Oh, leopard. Can you see the batises? Not. They're getting closer. I don't think there's a leopard here. They just will not come into line of the camera there. And they're all over. So I think it's a territorial dispute. All the batises. I would love to have had an oh my word moment. For those of you who don't know what an oh my word moment is, one of our guides, Stephen, was tracking a pride of lions, and he got out of the car once on some fresh tracks, and he said, I'm sure they're around here. And he had his head down looking, and in the back of the frame a head sticks up, and it's a lion. Cam up says nothing, doesn't see it either. He moves along a little bit more, another head pops up, and eventually there are 8 lions staring at this guy. And eventually he looks up and goes, oh my word! And the lions took off at that stage. It's happened to absolutely all of us. He just happened to get it live, unfortunately for him. But we've all done it, got out of the car, looked around and been observed by what we were looking for. Yes, I think about it on a nightly basis, Charlotte. I think about taking over from David Attenborough. Unfortunately, it's not really up to me. So, you know, I mean, while I would very much like to take over from David Attenborough, I can't really phone the BBC and say, I'm ready, I would like to take over from David Attenborough, because I don't think that their answer would be, that's a fantastic idea. When can you come in? When can you start? He's getting a little tired. So, I mean, it would be an absolute dream, I think, but I think there are probably about 5,000 of us who have that dream. Maybe one day someone from the British Broadcasting Corporation will get hold of me and say, would you like to narrate something for us? At which point I shall say, oh, yes, please, that would be lovely. I'll say, I'll just check my diary. I might be washing my hair that day. Yes, no, they won't ask me to do a Welsh accent. I'm not sure I've heard a Welsh accent narrating a wildlife documentary. I've heard definitely Scottish and North Country English. The elephants are walking down the road now. Oh, this elephant is thirsty now. He's going to have a drink. Wonderful. We're going now to Trishala. I don't know where she is or what she's doing.
Yes, you do. I am at the hyena den. I thought I'd pop in and see a ribbon in some nice light. Plus, those elephants that we were with just now, that were on Treehouse Dam Road, they're actually coming this way from the other side, but I see there's behind us, there's one as well, lingering. But Ribbon doesn't seem too fussed about it at all. Well, you know the drill. We are here waiting for beautiful cubs to emerge. hearing nothing so far, but I have noticed that the last couple times that they have come out, I didn't hear what we normally hear when they're very little, which is a hollow screaming and high-pitched little noises, little squitterings, anything like that. Before they emerge, they just come out. So we could be lucky indeed. So this is another mum for today. Oh, good old ribbon. Now ribbon is fairly successful mum, I think. She has had Djuma, who is her other daughter, who survived. That says quite a bit. And she has had 3 litters. This is her 3rd. From her first litter, she had Djuma, but there was a little litter mate named Lamula, which didn't survive. And then she had another litter last year, the beginning of the year, and of those 2 cubs, one was named Paddy. She didn't survive, and nor did the other youngster, who didn't survive even to the point of being named. And now she has these 2 little ones. She's managed to be mum 3 times over, 3 different litters. But so far, Djuma is her success story. Hopefully these 2 will be as well. Hi Candy Bear, you'd like to know if it's true that hyenas were domesticated by ancient Egyptians. I have also come across that before, and it is not, sorry, I saw the tail and I thought it was a cub. That is not unlikely at all, because even in Kenya, people had domesticated hyenas. In fact, I think also in northern Africa, can't remember where it was. I want to say Ethiopia, but I'm not sure. People used to often toss their dead to the hyenas as a bit of an offering. So that would tie into the ancient Egyptian kind of position of worship of them at one point. But it's very difficult, obviously, because those are thousands of years ago. Very difficult to say yes it was or indeed it is. As for any of the ancient Egyptian gods, I don't recall one having the head or anything of a hyena. There's also myths of were-hyenas, people who turn into hyenas, witches that ride hyenas, hyenas, or what was the other one? That there are people who are hyenas. That was another one I'd come across before. No, Ruben didn't like that. No, we're not people. Of course, all of this is just a result of their strangeness. But there's always beauty in that strangeness, and I see it every single time I come here. Anyway, I'll sit with this strange beauty for a little bit longer, and I'll send you over to and.Beyond's Ngala and the line and see what they're getting up to now that the sun is starting to set.
So we're still here with our lazy lions. They have moved, well, the sun has moved and now they're in the shade. So you can see a lot of the younger ones are all heads up. They're looking around, they're starting to get a little bit antsy now. They've been sleeping for most likely the whole day. And I think very soon we should start to see some activity. They've been watching a lot of the birds. So as I said, remember that first elephant that came through here? We said there was a little bit of water. So a number of birds have been coming to land at that water to get a bit of a drink. And all of these youngsters have been watching that waterhole, watching the birds, thinking, can I catch it? None of them have tried, but they're all being quite alert. And it's good. It's nice to see these younger ones. I'm hoping now as the temperature continues to drop. Oh well, he's dropping. I was going to say we might get some activity. It doesn't look like we're going to get any from him. But if you also noticed, quite a big difference. Like the ears are still twitching, but not as much. Because now that the temperature is dropping, a lot of the flies and the bugs and the insects are actually disappearing. They're going, I don't know where they're going, but they're going away.
Their alternate dimensions.
Yeah, they're just disappearing. So now these lions are getting a lot less pestered, so they have to flick their ears a lot less. It just so happens that the two that are on the camera are flicking the ears the most. I'm telling you, the rest of the pride's not doing that. They're actually looking quite content. But I'm sure Valerie, they do look very beautiful lying in the sand. In fact, I was looking at the one, and it's almost laying perfectly in our tire track, using the bump on the side of the track as a pillow. So there we go, that one there in the middle. You can see she's lying down there very nicely. So there's two tracks there where we turned, and the original track, and she's lying across them with her head up on the one bank. It's a little pillow. These lions are very good at making positions look comfortable. And they can pretty much sleep anywhere, Valerie, and make it look good. And they're committed to it. You know, I go to the beach and I don't like getting sandy. Make sure there's no sand on my towel. These lions just put their whole ear in it, their nose in it, their eye in it, and they're just like, oh, sand, whatever. They are really beautiful. You see some of them starting to groom a little bit. And this is all, like I was saying, the yawning, it's all signs of activity. The incredible thing is, you know, not just the white one, but how purposefully designed they are. And we will see more of that perfect design when they stop moving. So we're going to sit here and do the hard work and watch them sleep. And while we do that, we're going to send you back to James, who I think has a wildebeest.
We had a very amusing time when we arrived at this wildebeest. What he did was he looked at us, and then he looked behind him. And then he looked back at us, and he looked behind him as if to say, surely you couldn't possibly have stopped to be looking at me. There must be something more impressive behind me. So the poor wildebeest has got a major self-confidence problem, and he's now turned his back on us because he just can't believe that he's worth looking at. There's quite a nice light on him, really. It's beautiful light, beautiful afternoon here. We are now at, or on the banks of Lake Chitwa Chitwa. I think he's definitely worth looking at, especially in this glorious golden light. I'm going to suggest that the Hardy-Dar is not the ideal soundtrack to this particularly beautiful scene. That's right, it must just be quiet. See how the light reflects off him. His shining coat because he's had a healthy season. It's been very wet. The fact that he has no friends has probably got much more to do with his lack of self-confidence than anything else. He does indeed, our Lorimura, a nice shiny coat, and that's born of the great nutrition he's had all year. Right, and he is a bit of a stripy fellow, isn't he? They do have those kind of stripes, and I mean the idea is, I suppose, that they, or the thought is that they have them for the same reason that kudu have their white stripes. This breaks up the outline somehow. I just don't buy that. I don't know why they have them. Might be some sort of social signaling, I don't know. Eric, I will show you a hardy-dar, and you will regret it immediately that you asked, because I will then demonstrate its call. I'm just going to roll forward. There is one, David. Do you see the beastly thing over there?
Yes.
There it is. Andre says that this is not, in fact, a hardy-dar, but a Santon fish eagle. So, Eric, these things occur all over suburbia in South Africa, Cape Town, Johannesburg, Durban. I think they occur in Durban. And what they are wont to do is to stand on the roof at about 0500 each morning, especially after you have been indulging yourself excessively the night before, and then they make that call. They go frantically in the morning at 0500, and it's very unpleasant. They don't have a nice gentle call that you need on a morning like that. Ruby, that's good. I am, of course, being slightly facetious. I don't mind hardy-dars. They are, like all birds in suburbia, a reminder of wilderness. It's just not the most pleasant sound. Let's have a look at the sun going down. Just me, you say Durban has millions of the things. That's very pretty, David. You know, they're apparently, and I can't believe this, but they are apparently a threatened species. Which blows my mind, because I'm really not sure how such an abundant thing in suburbia could be considered threatened, but apparently they are. And I had a very famous guest once who, well, famous in South African terms, he was a Formula One driver. And he owned Tiger Wheel and Tyre. I mean, somebody who's related to him might be watching this. Anyway, he told me the story once. Oh, it's amusing, but it's a bit macabre. He thought they were pests. He didn't know that they were vaguely threatened, and they were harassing him every morning, and so he potted one once with a pellet gun, and he described how he had sort of set himself up like a Navy SEAL, a sniper, and potted this thing from just a small slit in the curtains of his bedroom window. And he'd very proudly then been at some event or other where another famous South African called Ken Newman, who was a magnificent ornithologist, wrote brilliant bird guides, illustrated them himself, and for some reason Eddie decided that it was a good idea to tell Ken Newman that he'd taken a pot shot at a hardy-dar, and apparently Newman lost his mind, quite rightly so, because Eddie had shot at the threatened species. You can't do that, they're a threatened animal. Eddie had no idea, apparently. Anyway, both of those people have sadly passed on. Eddie made up for it, by the way. He had a plane and he used to fly lions and other animals all over the place when they need to be relocated or looked after. Okay, shall we continue down towards the shores of Lake Chitwa? Pretend we're in an electric vehicle. Let's go back to Sean with the lions, and I'll see if the brakes work by the time we get to the bottom of this hill.
James pretending he's an electric vehicle. It's the first time I've heard that. But you see, we're starting to get a little bit more activity now. One of the older lionesses starting to wake up, and two of the big lionesses are now sort of up and grooming. Still no activity from that young male when he sort of laid down earlier. He hasn't done much since then. I think he will get up at the last possible minute. He's rolled over. I can see him rolling now. I can see reeds shifting. But nothing more than that. Because now it's starting to get quite cold. I'm even contemplating putting on my jacket. And that means it's very good conditions for these lions. You know, they do prefer the colder weather. Much easier for them to control body temperature. They use less resources. So they've got more energy for other things like walking, drinking, hunting. So we just got to be patient. Oh, look at that one. Licking the paws is very important. Now some of them will even lick the paws and then use that to wipe the face. This one closest to us there, that muscle, there we go. So look what she does. So she's licking her forearm and using that to clean her face. Intelligent animals. But we got a question from India, from Kamaya, wanting to know how the lions keep themselves warm in the winter. So Kamaya, what they would do, they would lie in the sun, just like what we saw now. They will start their day off lying in the sun, trying to get the warmth from there if they know it's going to be a cold evening. They will do that. And they often actually go and lie on the tar road. It is on our boundary, so it's not very fun for us. But they will lie on the tar road because the tar being black, it absorbs a lot of the heat. And then these lions will lie there and use that heat to keep themselves warm throughout the night. Because at night, that black tar will hold the heat a lot longer than the grass or the sand or something like that. So they will go and lie on the road. But otherwise, it's exactly like what we saw. The lions will just sit in the sun near the end of the day as it's cooling down. They'll sit in that sun, try and get as warm as they can, or gather as much warmth as they can if they know it's going to be a cold night. Look at that white one, she wants to clean, trying to get involved there. It's amazing how quickly their behavior changes, you know, from most of them lying down sleeping to now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them up, grooming, socializing. And it's just like that, you know, 1 second nothing, next second bundle of activity. And that's why out here, patience, the young male just go and line in between them. There's no social distancing here. But this behavior is very, very important. You know, it's vitally important for these lions to groom each other. It reaffirms social relationships, social connections, and it just keeps them sort of in touch and in tune with each other. And that becomes very important during hunts. You know, these animals can't communicate verbally when they're hunting. Any noise gives their position away. So a lot of it is body language based, it's instinctual, it's knowing, okay, she's going that way, I go this way. And those sort of relationships are formed like this. Grooming. They're grooming each other, you know, one licks there, the other one then reciprocates. Nothing out here, nothing in the wild is done randomly. Everything has a reason, has a purpose, serves a goal, everything. It's incredible. The wild is extremely efficient. Extremely efficient. But also find it, we talk about how we were talking about how social they were earlier. You know, now we've got 2 groups of 3, or just one grooming the other one. Look at that white male. He just snaked his way right into the middle there. Using the one line as a pillow, getting it clean from the other one. He's positioned himself very well. Oh, so there's another female coming. So there's a female that thought about making her wear. So talk about that male. He actually knocked up. There you can see the of this picture. There he is, as handsome as it's. You might hear camera. I do apologize. Oh, but look at it, just the face of determination. Going to one of the cubs, saying hello there. But you can see he's not really putting pressure. It's looking quite skinny as well. If you look like from his hip down to his knee, it's looking quite skinny. It's obviously because he's not using it, mass deteriorating, and he hits in. Marcel thinks it looks dislocated. I don't think it's dislocated or broken. You know, there's nothing sticking out. Look at that. He's put down, it's in the right way. Skew. He's putting a slight amount of pressure on it. You know, if it was broken, it would just be dangling and just sort of hanging and swaying from side to side. It does look like he still has a bit of control over the lower ligament. It does look like he can, you know, put a very slight amount of pressure on it, but he can. And even that little bit is a good sign. You know, again, I think it is just swelling. It's the swelling in the knee that is prohibiting a lot of his movement, and it is making it dangle. But look, 5 days for a wound like that is not very long. I mean, imagine a human did that. Long recovery. Be interesting to see in another maybe a week, another 10 days, how he's looking. I think if he manages to get food, he'll be fine. If he can get some food, he'll have the resources. His body will have the energy to attack and heal that injury. And that's why it's good he's with the Pride. I do also, guys, I do feel sorry for him. I do feel sorry for him. It's very tough. I mean, his entire life has been very tough. I don't know if we've given you the background. So, what we're saying, he's close on just over 3.5 years old. When I got here, he was 6 months. And he was part of a litter of 9. And it's him and his sister, the one with the cubs. They're the only 2 that survived from 9. I mean, 7 of their siblings, their litter mates, their cousins, whatever, died. So from the beginning, they had a very tough time. And him now being the only male that survived, it's even harder. He's got to leave by himself. He's got to do everything by himself. So it's very, very tough. His face, you can see he's been through a lot. He's been through a lot. But he's surviving. He's doing well. He's big. He's got a massive head. If he can survive these next couple months, I'm feeling very positive. Look at this cuddle ball just in front there. It's all just big 3 males that are just having a great time. The one I think is sleeping, and the other 2 are actually working. But you see how he walked into the middle there, and he was accepted. There was no growling at him. There was no, hostility towards him at all, which is a good sign for us, or at least a good sign for me. And being my favorite, I want him to be accepted, looked after, protected, things like that. So it's fantastic that none of those females reacted hostilely, reacted aggressively towards him. But you also notice he didn't go into that little group of grooming. He actually went more towards the youngsters, more towards the cubs. Now they obviously be a lot more tolerant of him. He's much bigger than them. They're not going to bite him, chase him, that sort of thing. So maybe he's just slowly making his way into the group. Here comes the other female. See, here comes the other female. Be interesting to see where she goes. To the female ball. Yes, she does. So also just ignoring him, but no hostile behavior towards him, which is good. Which is good. Now we're going to sit here, Masada and I. We're going to watch. We're going to see what happens. And we'll bring you straight back if anything does develop. But in the meantime, we're going to send you across to Trishala, who's at the hyena den.
We've had another visitor here at the den, and it's Djuma. She's just walking off. She came to visit Mum, briefly. And now it's time for some rest and relaxation. This is also all the big sisters that take care of the little ones, also like mums. Lots of flies on ribbon today. Now I am in two minds about sitting and waiting here, or leaving to go west just to have a look. Haven't heard anything. You guys can tell me what to do. There's still some time left anyway. Hi Josh, you'd like to know if the cubs of a high-ranked female have a better chance of survival? Absolutely. They have a very, very high chance of survival compared to others. And that's because they inherit their mum's rank. So if the mum is high-ranking, these cubs become high-ranking. Well, what does it mean to be high-ranking? It means that you have priority at carcasses, you have priority to eat, you have priority at den sites, you have priority in spots of shade. All those things that will help increase your survival and the survival of your young. Being high-ranking is associated with better longevity, so they live longer and they're healthier in general. And obviously that would lead on to you having healthier cubs and their survival increasing too. It's very interesting how stress of maintaining hierarchies and things like that can affect survival and quality of life. Hi, thank you. Well, if she's moving, hopefully that means cubs will be out soon. I'll send you over to James, who's got some waterbuck.
We've got a waterbuck that is heading off towards the setting sun, but it has stopped to gaze upon us. As it gazes upon us, I have received word that the Hardeda ibis is not, in fact, vaguely threatened at the moment, which is good. I am reliably informed, however, that you will be fined if you take pot shots at them. So please do not take any pot shots at Hardeda ibises, no matter how hungover you might be of a Sunday morning. Rather just go outside, clap loudly, and hopefully they'll go away. I must say, I feel like this waterbuck lacks a sense of humour. He doesn't seem to find our discussion vaguely interesting or amusing. He sort of looked at us with a disdainful air down his nose. This one's not much better. There we are. Disdainfully swatting his tail from side to side. Oh, and horning a bush. Right, we've come off Chitwa. Lake Chitwa gave us a couple of hippos, one fish eagle. You'd already seen a fish eagle. So we're going to go along the southern boundary now and see if we don't get extremely lucky In the meantime, Sean, who has been with the lions most of the day, is still with the lions, and I'm sure they are now starting to groom each other and get up.
Okay, so now we're getting quite a lot of activity. The cuddle station has ended, and these lions are now moving towards us. And they're actually just going around us. It seems like some of them have decided to go to the toilet behind us, and it now smells horribly because we are downwind, and it is not pleasant. Not at all. But yeah, so most of them have gone past us. I'm not sure exactly where they're going, but we'll wait here and find out. So you can see everyone had a cuddle really, except that little cub right at the back, and the young male didn't get any grooming, but everyone else did.
You can take a photo of our arm.
Oh. Yeah, if I sound funny, I'm just blocking my nose because it is horrible here where we are. Just be grateful that you're not part of this. Whew. But you see, now they're watching vultures. All of the vultures are starting to get active now because the lions are. And these lions have now defecated, and the vultures want to go peck at it because it smells like there's a lot of old meat inside of there for them. But what we're going to do, we're going to sit here. You can see all of these ones starting to get up now. Once they've passed us, then we'll start driving. Oh, now this is going to be interesting. So you see, like when he hops, it looks a bit floppy. Joe, as long as they don't mark on me, I will be a part of their territory. Where are you going, my friend? Where are you going? So he's smelling some old scat. See, look at his face now. Now he's tasting. He's not doing anything to me. He's got a gland inside of his mouth, and he's using that gland to taste the pheromones from that dung. Or that scat, maybe, to try and determine who it is, what it is, a lion, a leopard, which one. So he wasn't doing anything towards us. He was just trying to gather the information. So look carefully on his back. In the middle of his back, you can see it looks like there might be some claw marks or maybe some more bite marks on the middle of his back. Myself, you can zoom in there. There, right there in the middle, there's a few marks there. Could have been from that same fight that got him on the leg. That's interesting. I didn't see that before. But you can see now from the back, look, his leg does look a bit skew. But again, I'm saying it's the swelling. Because watch how we can put some pressure on it. So I was just moved because these cubs are playing in and amongst the reeds. They're sort of chasing each other. Okay, they moved. They're chasing each other around in the reeds, which is great practice. Great hunting practice for them. Now we are just going to avoid any pile of dung that we see, because otherwise it sticks with the car for days. Days and days and days. Oh, you can actually see like, bits of meat in the one that I just drove past. Not nice, but yeah, we'll stop here. Upwind. So you can see all of the adults. Myself's going to show you now. All of the adults laying down just on the side of the path. You know, I would offer him a lift if I could. I would if I could. But look at all the little ones. They're all in the reeds at the back. You can see top right of your screen maybe. The little white ones, they're all playing up there in the reeds. Important behavior. Stalking each other, hunting each other, using the reeds as cover. You know, we were chatting on my last drive, 4 days ago, about when, you know, the cubs would join in on a hunt, and I'll say, to be like actual contributors to a hunt, 2 years, just over 2 years. The next day, I think Eric saw them. I don't know if he told you, but myself and Rowan saw the lions hunting a buffalo. There's actually 2 buffaloes, and they were chasing the buffaloes and trying to hunt. It was just the females. The young male wasn't there. But while we were watching, the cubs, especially the older ones, the white one and all of the ones sort of his age, were trying to help. They were also chasing after the buffalo, but as soon as the buffalo looked, they scattered. So they weren't very constructive members, but they were there. They were running and they were following the females, and they were right there in the front lines. So it was very interesting to see, because I mean, these ones are now just over a year and a half, maybe a year and a half, and already they are, you know, getting a lot more involved than I expected. So that was quite awesome to see. You know, so this what they're doing there now is good. It's training. You might find now, end of this year, they will be a lot more contributive in the hunt. You know, a lot of the time the hunt, okay, seems like we get a lot of questions about this young male's injuries. So if he has broken a leg or broken a bone, the bone will heal. Yes, it will. But the question will be how it heals. You know, does it heal straight? Does it then fuse at a bad angle? You know, so it depends how it is. It will definitely heal, as long as obviously he gets food and he survives. It will heal. We saw an elephant when I first got here that had broken a leg, and the bones had then healed, but they had fused at an angle, and that obviously inhibited the elephant from walking. And if you're a predator like this lion, if his leg is broken and those bones heal skew and he can't run, you know, he can't hunt, he can't fight, then he will die. So, you know, a dislocation might be better. You know, a broken bone, that will obviously be the worst case scenario. That will be the worst case scenario. I'm trying to remain optimistic here, people. But we'll just, only time will tell. Only time will tell. You know?
Sorry about that, guys. I'm sure we'll get Sean back in no time. Ruben has had another visitor to the den. Very quick though. Didn't manage to see who it was. I think it's quite orangey. When I see an orangey individual, I usually think Fika. And it was very submissive towards Ruben. Ruben just moved and he scurried off. Also, very few spots. And Luca tends to be a little less spotty, so it could be either Fika or Luca, in my opinion. So I think it's a lazy day at the den today. I fear we may not be too lucky. I heard a slight squeal and then it was gone and everything is very calm now. So perhaps for the last half an hour of drive or so, we go along in the west and see what we can find. It was nice to see her though, very relaxed. There was also a warthog around in the bushes and an elephant not far away. So it seemed like one of those slow, very casual, very relaxed days around the den. It is so quiet. I'm sure she's just enjoying the fact that she doesn't have to look after the cubs at the moment, and she can actually have some time to herself, which I'm sure all the mothers around the world today can appreciate Nat, you see, she just looks so comfy. She really does. She would actually spend some of her time digging out a kind of certain depression that forms along her body in that perfect kind of way. And she'd have a number of them around the den and even at that entrance and around further away, where she'll fit just perfectly. Could we be lucky? No. That's why when you're driving around dens, you'll find little holes all over the place. It's a cute little pose. It's almost like I'm a cheetah. I'm dreaming of being a cheetah. They really are the picture of comfort when you look at them. So snoozy and just so comfortable. Alright, the lions are on the move with Sean at and.Sydney, and so I shall also be on the move to the west. So let me send you over to him in the meantime.
Okay, so we are just in front of the lions. Now they're all moving down the track here. What we're going to try to do is just move around and get in front and wait for them to come. Instead of just following around at the back. So we're going to turn around right here and watch them come through the reeds. Now some of those younger ones are still playing. So I'm hoping they're just going to miraculously appear out of the reeds, because that will look quite cool. We are going to go and stop over here. How's that angle there, Marcel? Yeah, but I think they're going to come out over here. So we're just trying to figure out where they're going to pop out. Yeah. It doesn't look like they're coming down the road anymore. Looks like they've gone through the reeds, so now it's a guessing game. Got to try and figure it out. So they are inside here. Oh, I see a head. It's incredible how inside there are 13 lions moving through here. And you can't see anything there. You can see a head. There's one. It's incredible how stealthily these animals can walk through a reed bed like this, which is actually quite challenging. These reeds are very sharp. Beautiful. Out of the bushes. Beautiful. There's some coming out a little bit further back, but they seem to have Bella. That is very, very true. Spending the time with this pride, spending the time with the white lions, is indeed a privilege. We are incredibly lucky to be doing what we have been doing. It is, you're absolutely right, it is an absolute privilege. And and the behaviors that they've treated us to, the elephant encounters, them walking past in front of us, them all sorts of activities that they've been doing have been just phenomenal. And I'm glad that, it sounds like most of you viewers, all of you viewers, appreciate what you are seeing. It's phenomenal stuff. See that little white one there? He's gone, found a little puddle there, having a drink. And they're all starting to appear out of the reeds now. Just going a little bit to the right there, you can see some movement. How is the setting in the river sand, the green reeds, and all of these lions making their way out? Sun setting. Look at that little one trying to ankle tap The big female there. And this is what lions do. It's walk 50 meters, lie down. Chris, I think the chance of the white male having a black mane are extremely low. You know, here's the color he is because he lacks a color pigmentation in sort of his fur, if I understand it correctly. And he might have a light brown mane.
So, as I understand it, his skin still has melanin.
Yes. So Marcel's just educating me.
It's just his genetic mutation, if you want to
Yeah.
say it. It's not really a mutation.
No.
Just prevents the depositation of the melanin.
Okay,
into the
so
skin.
what Marcel's saying is that his skin, from what Marcel understands, is that his skin still has the melanin, that color gene. It's just there's like a inhibitor type of thing that stops that melanin, that color gene going into the fur, into the coat. You can still see some goes through. If we just have a look, because he's facing us, it's quite hard. Marcel, can you scan of the female over there on the left? So if we look at her, look behind her ears, look at the color. You can see it's a bit darker. There's like a dark brown sort of color. Now that the male has exactly the same thing, but you can't see it on him because he's looking at us. So there's a chance when he does grow up, his mane may get like a slightly darker color than to the rest of his body. But it's not going to go like we've seen on the Ross males or even this young Birmingham male here. It's not going to go that sort of color. Yes, it would. It would look really, really cool if he did have a black mane on his white body. It would look really cool. But I think, was it Scott asked that question, or James? Or Chris maybe? Anyway, Google it. There's is an older male lion, a white one. As I said, he's 4 years old. He will have a bit of a mane already. So maybe Google, have a look, see what his mane looks like. And this white lion here, when he grows up, will look very similar. Chris, it was Chris. So Chris, have a Google. There are male white lions in the world, in captivity and that sort of thing, but the manes would look very similar. So it might be worth a Google there, but it's not going to be black. And you see how they've all spread out. Now the injured male is here. He's slightly further to the right, but he is keeping up with them. So I don't have to worry. I'll keep you updated if he falls behind. But he's managing to maintain. Yeah, they've spread out quite a lot. Like they're still just deciding where to go. Because there's a clear path up the bank here. They might head that way, or they're going to carry on in the river. I'm not sure. It all depends on what their plans are for the night. You know, are they going to go hunt, or are they just going to go find a place to sort of relax? Or they're trying to join up with somebody else. Maybe they have the Ross males, they want to join up with them, or they want to avoid them, which is more likely. So they're going to plan the evening around, you know, what activity they want to do. If they go up the bank, though, good hunting there. It's relatively thick. It's a good place for buffalo, for giraffe, for wildebeest. There's a good chance they might go up there and look for an opportunity to hunt. And that would be fantastic for us, because from where I am sitting to where the tented camp is maybe 500 meters. Half a kilometer from where we are right now to the closest tent. So if they hunt in this area, it will be lovely. Make our lives very easy come the morning. I don't know if you heard that. There's a baboon calling, but way, way far away. Sassy Cassie, I haven't had a question from you in a while. Sassy Cassie wants to know how many wild lions there are in the world. So, Sassy, wild white lions, like these two. And how we mean wild is that if you follow their sort of lineage back, their parents, grandparents, great, all of that sort of thing, all of them are wild. There was no one in captivity. So, white lions like that, there are 3. These two, and then the one that lives in the northern Sabi Sands area. But then in terms of white lions that are now wild, but their parents weren't, there's many. I'm not sure of the exact figure in terms of that, but there are a number of white lions in the wild whose parents came from, be it circuses or zoos or captive breeding areas or whatever it is. But the number is a lot higher than we think. I think any figure I give you will just be a thumb suck. But there are a lot more than these two. They're just not wild like these two are. It'll be interesting if any one of you do know, any one of you viewers do know, put a comment out there. It'd be quite interesting to actually get that figure. It's amazing how we got all of that activity. We got all of that activity and then just nothing. They just walk 20 meters and then sleep. So while we watch them sleep again, I'm going to send you across to James, see if he's found anything.
No, 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 he hasn't found anything. He's doing his best, I promise. He's doing really his utmost. He's been shining the spotlight, he's been staring at the ground, he found more leopard tracks. Quibus, that's a nice question, and we have had to deal with animal loss, you know, the characters, and, you know, I suppose you mean how do we deal with it physically? We deal with it by just being totally honest. So, you know, after a while we knew we'd lost our favorite leopard, Karula. You know, we hadn't seen her for 3 months or something, and then same thing with her daughter, Shongile. And we just spoke about it, and then I guess eventually we come to the conclusion that we are correct and that the animal is no longer with us. And then we sometimes have a little tribute fireside chat, is what we did with Karula, I think, where we, you know, sort of shared memories and people asked questions and shared their memories, and we played clips of her and the fun times we had together. It's very much like a kind of, I mean, I don't want to say a funeral, but it's like a memorial. It's like a memorial. And that's what we've done with the main characters. Some of the others who haven't been quite as main, we've just acknowledged their passing and shared memories, and that's been it. But yeah, we definitely do need to go through a little period of, okay, they're gone now, that's really sad, and memory, and I guess part of the human process of coming to terms with death and with losing someone or something that we love. I guess in many respects, and to many of our viewers, especially the longer term ones, it's been like losing a favorite pet. Especially for animals like Shongile, who died when she was, oh gosh, how old was she? She was about 2, wasn't she? I think she was 2. And somebody's dropped something there. Some beastly individual has dropped a piece of plastic. You'll mind. David's just going to pick it up for us. And it's, you know, we've watched them from birth, and when they die, it's very difficult. And I think everybody feels a sense of healing when we go through the process and we acknowledge it and remember it, and it's been cathartic, I guess. But it happens. And I suppose that's half of what makes this so compelling, is that you just don't know what's going to happen with our favorite characters. This is a precarious environment for a wild animal to live in. And others, like Tandi's previous litter, we just didn't even get to know them. So we acknowledged their disappearance, but, you know, we hardly got to know them, and we you half expect it with tiny cubs. Michael, you're telling us that Shungile was 18 months. Yeah, of course she was. She died in the August. Well, we acknowledged her disappearance around the August. And she was born in the February the year before, that's right. Because Karula disappeared when they were about a year old. That's right, I remember now. And also, you know, we very seldom find the corpse of our characters, because that's the nature of things. If you lie down and die out here, chances are something's going to eat you before the morning. And so it's always been kind of, will they pitch up, will they pitch up? And then there's a bit of an argument over, well, are we sure they're dead? And some want to just kind of get it over with and say, yes, they're gone, and others don't, and they want to wait a bit longer. Oh, it's entirely what you'd expect of people who desperately love these characters and don't want to lose them. I hope that's answered your question. We're now going to have a little view over the pink sky and lights of the Lowveld settlements. There we are. Let us be quiet for exactly 25 seconds. Now, I'll be going off on Friday next week. My wife and I will have finished our contracts, and this week, well, for me, Kirsten, the week starts tomorrow. I don't believe the week starts on Sunday. It's ridiculous. And this magical picture of the mountains is so kind of, I don't know, quintessential of this area. And I think we should take a quick moment to acknowledge all the mothers in those settlements, in those villages, in many cases, very poverty-stricken villages that we're looking at there, where mothers are doing their best to feed their families during this dreadful time that humanity is experiencing. So good on you all out there, all you mums, looking after your little ones. Someone called Pink Floyd wants to know where I'm going. Well, we're hopefully going to go down to the Eastern Cape. Depends on permits and how much we can travel and that sort of thing. But hopefully down to the Eastern Cape. Thank you, Pink Floyd. I mean, unless you want to hire me for a gig somewhere. Quite pretty, the twinkling lights. The furthest ones away there are, I think, probably Hoedspruit, although most likely Acorn Hook. Take a moment to feel some solidarity with all those folks out there. I'm sure you can understand why this place has been so absolutely captivating for so many hundreds of years and for so many thousands and thousands of people. Alrighty, David, before I start drizzing all over the place, let's carry on. Let us now go back to Sean, who's up north at Ngala, where it all began for me. His lions are still knocking about.
So we are spending just our last few minutes here with these lions. So you can see the camera, we've gone into sort of night vision mode, infrared mode. Because it's very dark now. We don't spotlight these lions. The cubs are still a bit too young. So we're going to spend maybe 3 or so more minutes here, see if there's any activity. And then we're going to leave them be. So some of these lionesses have moved further forward. And I think there's a very good chance when they do get up, they're going to go up this bank. They're not going to travel in the river anymore. They look like they're wanting to head up the bank. So it'll be interesting to see. You can see a lot of them now. That's out of those 3, the one right at the back is a female. Yeah, that one looking at me now. That's the female. And they will be the ones that sort of decide when it's time to get up, when it's time to go, where to go, that sort of thing. So far, 3 of the 4 females have their heads up. So I think very soon they're going to get up and go. The young male is just sitting at the edge of the reeds, just watching. He's got his head down, but he's paying attention. As soon as they move, I'm sure. Oh, there we go. You can see him.
Just.
Yeah, he's that big bump that you can see there in the grass. That is him. Blending quite well. You know, if he did have to stay in one place, that's not a bad place for him to stay. I think we're going to sit here, as I said, for maybe 3 more minutes. And then we're going to have to say goodbye to the lions. But it's been what a fantastic afternoon. 2 elephant encounters. Oh, she's up. So Adam, potentially this young male, now they're all getting up, sorry Adam, potentially he is at increased risk if the Ross males come. But as I said, I don't think it was the Ross males who did this. Oh, there's one of the cubs going to go and attack or play attack. So Rob, potentially he is, yes, but I think he will be okay. I think the Ross males caused this fight. They didn't attack him. We saw them today. They didn't look like they have any injuries, and it looks like they might have come from the central or northwestern part of the reserve, where he came from the east. So I think it should be fine. Now you can see them all following that path, as we thought, straight up the bank. And those 4 females all just suddenly stood up, one after the other, whoop, 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 straight up the bank. But you see, now look at this. This is going to be the difficulty, the handicap for the white one. Look how much more he stands out compared to these other lions. He's in the middle of a whole group of lions, but he's the only one you can see. He stands out the most. Oh, wait, sorry, we'll link now. That young male is actually jogging to keep up. There, he's just above the spotlight there. You can see he's moving with quite a pace, which is good. Still very mobile. So fantastic for him. Easily climbing up that bank. That's great. I'm glad he's following. I'm glad he's keeping up. So really, really awesome. But yes, they have now all disappeared up the bank. So thank you very much for them for a fantastic afternoon. And as they leave, we're also going to, and I'm going to send you back across to Trishala.
It has been a fantastic afternoon. As Sean said, I'm really glad that that lion is managing to keep up. As long as he's got his pride, I think that it's very, sometimes very surprising the amount of things that animals can survive. Things that you and I would think, oh, if I had a broken leg or this, that, and was out in the bush, I'd never survive. But animals are phenomenal when it comes to their healing ability, their endurance, and their sheer will to survive. That's something that you get shown out here every day. So I've taken Zoe's to the south, and that's the area Hukumuri usually takes to get in to Djuma. So I thought, why not try, just in case. Unfortunately, nothing today. But that's okay, because I was so lucky with that exact scenario about 3 days ago. Now that I've seen 2 bush babies yesterday as well, last night, I'm also hoping for some of those. Ooh, I have a feeling. I don't know what it is, but James has a surprise for you. Let's go and look.
We do have a surprise. It is a leopard, a last-minute leopard. Yeah, you're on. I'm just going to turn the light on because it's his backside. I don't know who it is. It's Tingana or Hukamuri, I think. Is it? Yeah. Gosh. We'll try and get around the front of him. Or her. I think it's a him. Is it? I can't tell from this angle. Louise reckons it's Hukamuri. Louise is pretty good. Alright. I mean, we've got some nice light on him now. I think it's Tingana. I've just seen the fat, not fat, but loose skin in the belly. I think it's Tingana. I'm just going to turn the lights off him now. I know that the view's not going to be as good, but it's just not, our thing to put lights on these nocturnal animals. What a stroke of luck that is, hey? 5 minutes from time. Twice in a row. 3 times in a row. Blind luck. Zero skill involved in this. So you're all agreeing with me it's Tingana? It's a relief. Oops, sorry David. I think I was in the wrong gear there. That is a power line, yes, sorry about that. We are just on the power lines. We have to bring power into the camp to broadcast, so we won't worry too much about that. He's been hanging around here quite a lot of late, and I wonder if he hasn't had something nice to eat in there. Hey, Tingana. Brilliant, as they say out here. He's marking territory still. There we go. I think let's extend a little bit, Kirst, until he gets to the road and we can get a decent look at him, if that's all right. Stations have located Tingana on the power lines. He's mobile in a easterly direction, about to arrive at where telemain access, if anyone's interested. Hazan, it's your birthday today, and you say whoop whoop. Well, happy birthday, Hazan. Tingana wishes you a happy birthday as well. Hello, young fella, or old fella. There's a very interesting thing going on with the dynamics of these cats right now, with Mawati pushing around and I think trying to extend north, maybe not quite so far west, and this guy sandwiched between Hukamuri and Mawati at the moment. can't get around him right now without causing a major ruckus. So I'm just going to drive slowly around him once he gets into the clearing, and then we'll close with a nice view of him walking towards us, I hope. Zan, you say, OMG, I'm fainting. Does that mean that you would like some sort of medical assistance? Can we call someone for you? I hope not. On your birthday. I think this cat looks in magnificent condition. He smelt something there. What you got, boy? Let me just quickly nip in front of him now while he's in there. You got him there, dog? You think he's just rubbing his head in there, making sure that his scent is fully in there. I suspect he can smell hukumuri. I can smell popcorn. He doesn't like the smell of the other leopard. Yes, newsflash, he could easily appear on the damn cam. Hello, my boy. See, it's good to see you. I don't really think I can call a leopard of this stature my boy. I should be calling him sir, really. Okay, let's just go around him, and then we'll finish off with him walking towards us. Yes? Yes. I'll attempt not to break the car as I do this. Right, here we go. All right, everybody, we'll leave you with a view of Tingana. Thank you for joining us. My contract does end on Friday, but I hope to be back with you around the end of June. Until tomorrow morning at 0600. Good night.